Girls' Night Out is a 1982 slasher that is about the students of DeWitt University preparing themselves for a night of fun and frolics in the form of an all-night scavenger hunt. Little do they know that they are, in fact, the ones being hunted. I got the Arrow Blu-ray with this cool-looking custom cover that's way better than the original cover, with some chick who's not even in the movie on the poster. Seems to be a popular thing back in the 80s, putting people on the poster who isn't even in the movie. And this was also called the Scaremaker at one point, and neither title I don't think works for this movie. The Scaremaker, it's not that scary. Girls' Night Out, it should have been called like the Scavenger Hunt, something Scavenger Hunt, because that's what the movie's really all about. People getting picked off while on a scavenger hunt, so something with that in the title would have been more fitting. This was my second time watching it. I watched it for the first time a little over a year ago for my 1982 top 10 video. Wasn't a fan of it, and rewatching it, I enjoyed it a little bit more because of the characters. That's the biggest positive for the movie, is that these are really fun, amusing characters with really wacky side characters also, like people who show up for just like a minute and have a bunch of like witty improv dialogue. It seems like a lot of the dialogue in the movie was just improv. Just say whatever comes to mind. And it's a bunch of weird shit that's fun to listen to, and it makes you like the characters. It has a really fun college, atmosphere, kind of like what's that movie from 1981, the college campus slasher Final Exam. It's kind of like that movie with the characters, the dialogue between them, and just it has that fun vibe going on. It just feels like a party movie. A bunch of people drinking and some lovers cheating on one another, and then it turns into a slasher movie like 45 minutes in. That's when a scavenger hunt begins, and then it picks up from there. And I like the outfit that the killer wears. It's the mascot outfit. It's a bear with these weird eyes and this like white like mohawk going on and like a tongue sticking out. It's really silly looking, and I love that the killer makes like Freddy Krueger claws, has like actual kitchen knives sticking through the hand of the outfit. So this is before Nightmare on Elm Street, and I just thought it was a cool idea for a weapon and a funny, interesting idea for a outfit for the killer. It helps them blend in because everyone recognizes their mascot, so they just think that the killer is so and so, but it's not. And I liked the scavenger hunt idea. I thought it was a smart way for the writers to get the characters to split up and be on their own. In other slasher movies, you're just always questioning, like, why are they by themselves right now? It just feels forced, just, splitting up the characters. In this one, it makes sense why they're all splitting up, looking for different clues, trying to solve the scavenger hunt, and none of them even know that there's a killer on the loose, so why would they be afraid to be alone, So it's a fun way to split the characters up and get them picked off one by one.
Bitch! Pay that price, you whore!
I thought it was hilarious that the killer is yelling obscenities as they're killing each victim, just yelling, "Slut, you bitch!" Every single kill, that's all you hear is just the killer yelling that kind of shit, and it just makes it stand out from the other slashers. And I'll give this movie credit for having a killer reveal that wasn't so predictable. At least for me, on first watch, I wasn't able to predict it. I thought the acting was fine, and I liked seeing Vicky from Friday the 13th Part 2, and the lead actress in this movie is from The Kindred, and you got Hal Holbrook in here, and you got the one actress from Amityville Horror 2, and all kinds of other stuff. So there's some familiar actors in here, and I liked seeing them, but unfortunately, one of my negatives is Hal Holbrook. His character just feels like he's barely in the movie. It feels like they had him for one day, and he's not even in like scenes with the other characters. He's mostly just on a phone the whole time. And then towards the end, when he's supposed to be like in the same room with other characters, you can tell he wasn't actually there, and they just shot his scenes separately with close-ups to make it look like he was in the same room looking at the other characters, but obviously they were shot separately. Like he's not really there with the other characters. He's barely in the movie, and I wanted to see more from him. This is another slasher with the phone calls cliche, the killer making these phone calls and using some kind of creepy, raspy voice so you can't tell who it is exactly, if it's a man or a woman. And at least in this movie, though, it actually kind of is pivotal to the plot, helps Hal Holbrook solve the case because of these phone calls. So it's not like they're completely unnecessary to the plot, but it's just already been here, done that by this point in 1982. The whole phone call thing has been done to death by this point. But the biggest problem this movie has is the kills. You have this cool Freddy Claw weapon that you could try to get creative with and have some vicious on-screen kills, some gore, throats being slashed, and you don't see shit in this movie. And even the kills that are on screen, there's no good practical effects that you're seeing, and it's sometimes a little too dark to even see what's going on. So the kills just needed to be improved. The kills in this are just so lame. They cut away so many times. And the pacing of the movie just is so uneven. It doesn't pace like a normal slasher. It spends a good like 40 minutes just setting up the characters. And then the scavenger hunt starts and it picks up. It gets, it's like boom, 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 kill, 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 but there's no good payoff there. And then the movie slows down the third act and becomes like this police investigation giallo, and it just slows down way too much. There's no real final girl, there's no final chase, there's no final fight. It's just reveal and it's over. And it just leaves you with some questions at the end. And there's just too many survivors by the end also. You got so many characters that are set up in the first 40 minutes and only a little handful of them die. You could have had so many more kills in this. And it needed to be restructured, this whole movie, to be a much better slasher. They needed to not do the third act investigation, just have the whole second half of the movie be the scavenger hunt. And then, from time to time, cut to Hal Holbrook solving the case. And then you can still have the ending kind of play out the same way it does, just without all the police investigation shit. And throw in a few more kills for these other characters that were set up earlier. Some of the red herrings, have them die. Like, there's just too many survivors. So final thoughts, this is like a generic slasher meets Animal House that has the kind of characters and setting and vibe that I enjoy in a slasher, but unfortunately just lacks severely in the kills, the gore, the creativity to make it stand out more above the rest at the time. It's somewhat silly and enjoyable, and it has a good idea with the scavenger hunt, but it's just not executed properly. So when it comes to Girls Night Out, aka the Scaremaker, I'll give it 2.5 out of 5. Alright, quick spoiler discussion. So in the open, it starts at Weston Hills Sanitarium. Now, isn't that the same exact name for the sanitarium in Dream Warriors? It sounded familiar. I didn't look it up. Maybe I should have, but the Weston Hills, that sounds so familiar. Isn't that Freddy vs. Jason and Dream Warriors? We get a heavy breather on the phone, cliche, and then the nurse walks into one of the rooms and this guy named Dickie Kavanaugh is hanging himself. And I thought it was a little weird that we never get like a reaction from the nurse who is discovering this. He just started hanging himself right in front of her, and we never see her reaction to this or her screaming or, just anything like that. So that just felt weird and missing from the movie. And so then we learn about this guy who's hanging himself a little bit later. His name is Dickie Kavanaugh, and many years before, decades before, he was at this college that our main characters are at, and he got dumped by his cheerleader girlfriend and murdered her, and she was the daughter of Hal Holbrook, who is the security guard on campus. And he killed her during a scavenger hunt like the one going on currently. So after Kavanaugh is dead, we see these two like grave diggers digging a hole in the ground. It doesn't even look like they're at a cemetery. It just looks like they pulled over in the middle of the woods and they're digging a hole. And they talk about the history of Kavanaugh, and they say that the sister of Kavanaugh is paying them to bury the body, but before they can do that, they get killed by some unseen killer wearing all black, and they get hit in the face with a shovel and buried in the hole they dug. And the way it's put together, it's pretty lame. There's no gore, no real effects being used here. Like, it's just it's like the shovel going towards the camera again and again. They just get whacked in the head, and now they're dead. It's pretty lame. And then the next kill, much later on in the movie, is Benson, playing the bear mascot, opens the door, is looking right at the killer, POV, recognizes who it is. Hey, how's it going? Come on in. And boom, kitchen knife to the chest. We hear the killer's raspy voice. The killer's wearing black leather gloves, like a giallo, and steals his outfit and says something like, I'm going to need this outfit more than you. I'm not sure why this killer needs to wear a disguise at all. Does she really need to wear it? Everyone there knows her, so I guess so she makes everyone think it's Benson killing people? Maybe that's it. So we get a cat scare in a garbage can, which is so fucking lazy. That's bad. That's a bad way to scare the audience. It's lazy. It's such a cheap tactic, and it's been done time and time again before this movie. They did a cat scare in Friday the 13th Part 2 the year before, Slumber Party Massacre the same year, like how many, and Halloween 2, same thing, cat coming out of the dumpster. Like, how many people are throwing cats away in their trash cans every day? So then the scavenger hunt starts the next day. No one's found Benson's body yet, and so the first girl who gets killed during the scavenger hunt, I didn't write her name down, but she's in this very dark gymnasium, and the killer comes in from behind and starts grabbing her throat, cutting it with the claw, yelling obscenities, "You slut, you bitch." And then her friend comes by and finds her body like tied up in the shower room, and we get a decent practical effect on her neck all sliced up. That was really the only somewhat gory moment in the movie. And after she finds her dead friend, she just runs down the hall straight into the killer's arms, and it cuts away. And I don't think we ever see her body later on. So, complete cutaway kill, absolutely bullshit. That's a terrible kill. And I noticed a little continuity error with the dialogue here. They established like twice that they were to meet up again after they split up 20 minutes later, and then she tells her to count to 20 minutes. And when she is on the phone a little bit later on, she's on the phone with, our quote unquote final girl, Lynn. And I say quote unquote, 'cause she's not really the final girl. There's a lot of survivors in the movie. She's not the final girl. But when she's on the phone a little bit later, she's like, yeah, me and so we're supposed to meet up 10 minutes after we split up. No, you said 20 minutes like twice before. So a little bit of an error there in the dialogue. So then Sheila, who plays Vicky in Friday the 13th Part 2, she gets killed. It's a decent like jump scare through the window and grabs her throat, and she's just screaming Benson the whole time, thinking it's her new lover killing her in the moment. And then we get the next kill, and it's one of those kills, kind of like Vicky in Friday the 13th Part 2, where the victim just stands there, sits perfectly still, and lets the killer slowly approach them and kill them. Just sits there completely helpless, screaming, not putting up a fight at all, and then just cut away. Then Lynn discovers the body of Leslie, who just sat there and let herself get killed, and then calls the cops, and now we got this whole police investigation going on the next day. Everyone's being interrogated, all the red herrings, the basketball players who have been dumped, and we find out that it was actually the cafeteria lady who was in the movie for maybe 1 or 2 minutes before, and that she's the twin sister of Kavanaugh, or Dickie Kavanaugh, from decades before. He used to go there, and when she found out that her crazy brother hung himself in the sanitarium, she didn't want to accept that, and now is pretending like she's sharing a body with him, like she's like possessed. She can somehow like make her voice go real deep and sound like she's possessed and sound like her brother, I guess. Like, it's really weird. It's confusing because it makes you think she's possessed for a moment, but then Hal Holbrook is saying like, no, your brother's dead. You just need to accept that. So like, is it just her in denial and she can somehow make her voice go real deep, or is she possessed by her brother? I thought it was a little forced that they made Donna go and call Teddy, Lynn's boyfriend, who's cheating on her with Donna. Like, why would she call Teddy? She just got kicked out of her dorm room because the boyfriend found out that she's cheating on him. So, and then as she's walking across campus, she thinks she's being followed, and so she's like running, and when she's running, she's doing like a very light jog. It's like you would be running faster than that if you thought some maniac was chasing you through the college campus. And so, but she stops at a payphone, and instead of like calling the cops, she calls Teddy. Like, why? Just run to Teddy's place and knock on the door and he'll let you in. Like, why are you stopping to make a fucking phone call in the middle of a chase? It was just stupid. So Teddy shows up to save Donna and gets stabbed in the back. We get the killer reveal. Hal Holbrook, he somehow knows where to go, to find the killer. And so, yeah, he just conveniently shows up there and spells it all out for us. And then she opens up the freezer and shows that Kavanaugh's body is in there. And he's wearing the mascot bear claw on his hand, which I thought was a little funny. And then the movie just ends. So it's like, okay, did she get arrested? Did she, was there a struggle there afterwards? Did he have to kill her? Did Hal kill the killer? Did Teddy bleed out from his stab wound in his back? Does Lynn ever find out that her boyfriend was cheating on her? Like, our final girl is never in this scene at the end, so she barely is even a final girl. It's just kind of a weak ending. It's just supposed to be this shocking reveal, and then it just ends there without answering other questions. So those are my thoughts on Girls' Night Out. What are your thoughts on this lesser-known cult classic slasher from the early 80s? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's all an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.